Okay, kids, got a problem here, and if you're looking for the answer to the question that I put in my title, I don't have the answer. I'm actually asking that question. It's not a rhetorical question. I'm really freaking confused right now. So, for the last year, I've been going around calling myself an INFJ, and I've been very confident in that. But, you know, there are a lot of INFJs who are like, well, I don't really know if I'm an INFJ or an INFP because they're so similar, and I just don't know because, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm a judger and other times I think I'm a perceiver, and I've always kind of scoffed at that, like, you should know what you are. Like, I've always been very secure that I'm a judger. But I just took a Jungian cognitive functions test, which instead of like asking you questions from the perspective of a Myers-Briggs test, like asking questions that would determine whether you're introverted or extroverted, or asking questions that would ask you whether you're a feeler or a thinker, it actually asks you questions based on the 8 Jungian cognitive functions, and I'll put a link to it in the description. But so I took this test and I answered it as honestly as I could, and you know, I didn't quite understand some of the questions, but I still tried to answer it pretty faithfully. And I got the results expecting it to be pretty much the same as your regular old typical INFJ, with NI being pretty high up there, FI being really strong, TI also being good, and sensing not being so good as well. And so I was pretty shocked when I got this. I wrote it down. I don't know if I'm going to be able to focus this in very well. Hold on, let me get on the other side of the camera. Here's what I got. This is my order. This makes absolutely no sense for an INFJ, okay? FI as a top function, and look where the NI is. It's like, it's towards the bottom. This makes no sense, and I should be my strongest one if I'm an INFJ. And I understand that there is some variation from your model, from the model functions of your type. Like, you know, if you're an INFJ, you don't necessarily have to have, it doesn't have to be like NI, then FE, then TI, then SE. There can be a little bit of variation within that, but as far as I know, there shouldn't be this much variation. And so I'm wondering, is the test that I took broken, is the Myers-Briggs broken, or am I broken? Because this just doesn't make any sense. And it suggested to me that I was, it very strongly suggested that I was an INFP. Basically it said if you're not an INFP, then, you know, you're crazy. And it also suggested that I could be an ENFP or an ISFP, and I know for sure those are wrong. But so I'm just wondering, like, seriously, how much variation is allowed for you still to be a certain type? Like, am I an INFP now? I don't understand, because when I think about it, if I take the 4 letters of the Myers-Briggs, all of those letters make sense to me. Like, I know I'm definitely introverted. I know I'm intuitive. I know I'm feeling, and I know I'm judging. I know there's not, you know, a huge difference between my judging and my perceiving. Like, every time I take it, it's usually only like, you know, like a 25 or 30% preference for judging over perceiving. But still, I mean, that's a pretty good margin. It's not like it's only like a 2% or a 5% difference. So I don't understand why I came out like this. And why it's so different from the model functions of anything, really. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, both of my top 2 are feelings, and what doesn't make any sense to me, because I'm not a very overly emotional person. I'm very logical at times, especially when it's impersonal to me, but I'm not one of those crazy, overly emotional people. I used to be when I was younger, but as I've grown older, I've learned to, you know, calm it down a little bit. But So if anyone has any advice on this, if you can tell me just by observing my mannerisms whether you think I'm an INFJ or an INFP or maybe even something different. I've always been very comfortable with the fact that I'm an INFJ, and I never even considered being an INFP until now. But, you know, FI really makes sense to me as a function, which it would if I were an INFP, but then at the same time, from this test, it also says that I'm very, very strong at FE. It's my second strongest function, and that would be something that an INFJ would be good at, not an INFP. So it's like I'm a mixture of both of them, which is like impossible. So I'm just starting to think that the Myers-Briggs is just totally crap, and that Jung is really the only way to go. So please help me if you can figure out what I am, because I don't just want to be some random person floating around in space. I want to know what I am, even if that means chucking the Myers-Briggs out the window. But, what else was I going to say? So, yeah, but in regards to the J and P, I feel pretty strongly that I'm a judger. My mom always says that I'm really indecisive, but that's just because, like, she asks me questions like, where do you want to go to eat? And I don't care about stuff like that. But I like to plan things ahead of time, and I'm the kind of person that, if you make plans with me and then you change them, I get kind of upset. So I don't think a perceiver would be that kind of a person. And what else? Yeah, so I like to have things planned out ahead of time when I make plans with friends. We don't have to plan out what we're doing, but like, where are we going to meet? What time are we going to meet? Who else is going to be there? That kind of stuff is important to me. And that's all typical of a judger. So, but I'm not extremely judging, but I know I definitely prefer it over perceiving. But at the same time, these functions just don't match up with an INFJ, like at all. So, if you can help me, please do. Thank you.